Yeah.
But we will argue over whether we're going to use Tide or Gain. I mean, it was weird because my mom used Tide, his mom used Gain. And so,
Team
Gain,
Gain.
huh?
I said Team
Right.
Gain.
I mean, now we are. I don't care. Now, as long as my clothes don't smell like sweat and dirt.
Yeah.
But like when we first got married, because we were so culturally into our families, we didn't realize that that was separating us just in laundry detergent. So he would, so he would buy Gain. I'm like, I don't use no Gain. And I think I was more so like that because I didn't want him to bring his mom in our house. I wanted to be the head woman. You know what I'm saying? So like, if he has Gain, that means he's thinking I'm his mama, and I don't, all that goofy stuff.
Yeah.
But at the time it wasn't goofy. But then he was like, well, I want to use Gain. I want to use Tide.
Yeah.
That's because he was just so used to using it. So like, either we would fight over whether we would use Tide or Gain.
Hello, and welcome to the Powder Room, where we discover the message within our messes. I am your host, Ivy Ashley, and in today's episode, we are continuing with the series, Why Did I Get Married? And I know I said this last week, but I'm going to say it again this week. I am super excited about the couple that I am talking with today. The wife is a very good sister friend of mine, and I know anytime we get together, she is always going to give me the real. And her husband, let me just say this, he is cool, super laid back. So whenever he says something or whenever he opens his mouth, he has something to say. So I like to introduce and welcome to the Powder Room for the very first time, Pablo and Kesha Smith. How are you?
Girl, what's good? Over here.
What's happening?
On this nice Friday.
Awesome. I am so glad to have you guys with me. Thank y'all for agreeing to say yes and not even really knowing what you're saying yes to, but I appreciate you coming on the platform and ready to drop the people some knowledge and some wisdom about marriage and what it takes to stay together.
Listen, I hope y'all ready for some laughs, baby.
Yes.
Because marriage is funny.
I'm sure. Okay, he just gonna point at you like it's all on you, but it's cool.
But as we go through this, you'll see.
I'm sure.
You'll see.
So before we get into the discussion, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourselves.
You want to start, Boo? You hear that, curve, Boo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let me see. We've been married 26 years. We've been together 36 years. My name is Pablo. It's my wife, Kesha. Like I said, we've been married for 26 years. We've been together 36. We met in the 10th grade, high school, sweethearts. Off and on for about 10 years before we got married at 25?
25.
At age 25, and we've been kicking it ever since. I've been pulling all along. 20-some years, man. Come on with me.
Don't tell me that sounds like you've been kicking and screaming, friend.
Like, hey, death do us part. That's what it say, right?
I know that's right. Hey,
can't go nowhere. We get locked in now. So, hey,
listen, no talk of papers over here, right?
Yeah, we won't need that. We good.
So wait a minute, because you said something, and I'm not just gonna let you glaze over that on and off period. So why was it on and off?
I don't really know why Pablo said
we were young, and so like I said, we met in the 10th grade. So we broke up and got back together a few times. That's why it'd be like on and off. We broke up and got back together, and then we break up and got back together. And then, our college years was kind of the same thing. We break up, get back together. So it was just, that's why I say it was a lot of off and on.
Okay, because y'all didn't go too. So it was.
I don't remember that too much off.
Yeah, we was off a lot. She would break up with me all the time.
Well, clearly, clearly somebody was off.
Look, she remember the drive also. I'm standing in the driveway. Just we did that a lot. We did that a lot. We
Girl.
more on than off though. More on.
Okay. All right. So more on than off. So tell us, at what point did you know that Kesha was your person, and at what point did you know that Pablo was your person?
Now, when you say person, like my wife, basically, or was gonna be my wife one day?
Yes.
Well, I think I was a junior in college, and she used to she worked out of town. She was a flight attendant, so she would fly in town, and she would come directly to school to A&T.
You hear drop that
I
heard him.
She would come to school and she would stay with me in my apartment for her 3 days, and then she would go back to work. Basically pretty much what she did. And I think my junior year was when I really like when she would leave, it'd be different. And I started missing her a lot. She's gone 3-4 days. I started missing her, and I started thinking like, okay, yeah, she's definitely who I want to be with forever. So.
Oh, what about you, Kesha?
I think I knew when Pablo accepted my sister. My sister is very key in my life. So when he just accepted my sister and started calling her sis, and like he would do stuff for her even when I wasn't around and make sure she was good. And I was like, that's very unique for a young guy to just take on that ownership and, take care of my sister. When I say take care of my sister has a mental disabilities. So she needs a lot of assistance. She can do a lot of things on her own, but she can't live on her own or anything like that. Like she needs people to help her, cook for her, make sure she does what she needs to do. And so when he took that on, I was like, that's huge, because that's something that he know that is going to be a part of my life forever. And if you could take that on as a forever thing, then we're good.
That's right. Allowed you to see that he has some selflessness. In him.
Yeah, he was always he's always been a very giving person. But that was the thing that made me say, this is it. Like he's good. He's real good.
That is awesome. So 25 and married, right?
26.
Oh, 26.
No,
okay.
We got married at age.
Oh, at age 25.
We're 25.
Married at age 25.
Okay. At age 25.
At age 24.
Okay. So y'all got married at 25. Tell us, and I want the good, the bad, and the ugly, about some of your biggest challenges that you had to overcome in those very first few years of marriage.
You want to go first?
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
I'll let you go.
Sure. Thank God they passed those, man. Yeah, okay. Right. So Pam and I both come from traumatic backgrounds, meaning that, we had drugs, alcoholism, dominating parents. My dad was very dominating. His mom, by no choice, had to be, kind of dominant because she was raising her boys. Just adultery, fighting, that was our past. And it was funny because when we first got together, we didn't even really know that about each other because it just wasn't displayed. Like he was always good. He never brought that to me. I think I brought it more into our relationship than he did initially until, we sat down and we figured out how we wanted to do our marriage. But, we just seen a lot of stuff growing up that we just was absolutely like, this can't be what marriage and life is about. And so, growing up, my dad, I talk about my dad a lot. He's my ace, but he was not a good dad growing up. Growing up, he was just not a good dad. But, once I became an adult, we mended some things, and then, he got saved and different things like that. And then he became like my best friend. Pablo's dad was not in his life. So, we had to fix that because if we wanted children, he didn't even have an example with not even with my
Right.
dad at the time because my dad wasn't, in his position doing what he was supposed to do. So we had to
Mm-hmm.
deal with that. And then he didn't have really a lot of male role models. The role models that I had as women, wasn't that great. I ain't gonna say, we'll just leave it like that. It wasn't really that great. So we was trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and even trying to figure out how we wanted to do it. Those generational curses still came in, even with
dominant.
and we fought so hard for them not to come in, but they still did. And like little things like, and we laugh about this now, but when you're married and you're coming through that stuff, it's really not funny. It's huge.
Tough. Yeah.
But we will argue over whether we're gonna use Tide or Gain. I mean, and it was weird because my mom used Tide, his mom used Gain, and so
Team
Gain,
Gain.
huh?
I said Team Gain.
I mean, now we are. I don't care now. As long as my clothes don't smell like sweat and dirt.
Yeah.
But like when we first got married, because we were so culturally into our families, we didn't realize that was separating us just in laundry detergent. So he would, so he would buy Gain. I'm like, I don't use no Gain. And I think I was more so like that because I didn't want him to bring his mom in our house. I wanted to be the head woman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if he has Gain, that means he's thinking I'm his mama, and I don't, all that goofy stuff.
Yeah.
But at the time it wasn't goofy. But then he was like, well, I want to use Gain. I want to use no Tide.
Yeah.
That's because he was just so used to using it. So like, either we would fight over whether we would use Tide or Gain.
We would argue. No fight.
Argue, yeah. So then we just decided we're gonna just use some other than that. So I think we went to like All or like
the other one. What's the blue one? I forget the other one. We just went to another one.
We just decided to go to another one. At least we had enough common sense. And I think that's where it started, when we was like, we have to cultivate things for us. Like
right.
What's going to make us as a couple happy, and how we're going to compromise and work this out. So, that was one of the hardest things. And it seems like a simple thing, but it was one of the hardest things, because when you grow up with somebody so long, if your mama make food one way, that's the way you want it. But, you're diving into a whole nother person that does things totally different. So that was one thing. And then another thing was finances.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, finances was, I think, one of the biggest, because we were on two opposite ends of the whole thing. We saw things different. We had different ideas when it came to, do we put our money together? Do we keep our money separate? Do I pay the bills? Do she not pay the bills? Does she not work? Do we both work? So a lot of that in the beginning is where our biggest struggles came from. Because we both end up losing our job.
Well, you got to tell them the reason why we were like that is because Pablo's mom and dad paid bills separate.
Yeah.
Again,
my mom and dad do bills separate.
And my mom, my dad just paid for everything.
Yeah. So coming in, I thought we supposed to.
Girl, every time we tell this story, I be like,
I thought we were supposed to. Well, we were stuck on this 50-50 thing. So
no, he was stuck.
I'm like, no, okay, listen. So bills are due. Give me your half. I'm gonna throw in my half. You gonna pay the bill.
But Ivy, he made more money than me.
But I made more.
I mean, like 2 times more money than me.
So I was like, half your check, half my check.
No, all my check was gone.
And all her check was gone, and she kind of had to break it down to me, like, because I'm like, the house note is due. Say for example, if it's $1,000, I'm like, okay, I need $500 from you, $500 from me. We pay the house note. But like her check would be like, she couldn't do 500, and she had to break it down and explain, like, I can't give you half my check, because my check will be completely gone. And then when she broke it all the way down to me like that, it started making sense. Like, wait a minute, okay, we got to change the finances up completely. And that's what we ended up just putting all our finances in one pot We did everything from one pot, which we still do today.
Yeah.
How difficult was that
It
transition?
was horrible for me.
And for me, it was horrible for both of us because
we see money different.
Yeah.
She's a saver. I'm a spender.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to spend my money. Every time I got a check, I wanted to celebrate myself with something from the mall. And she always wanted to save every single penny, and it just we just were clashing every month about how to do our money. You can't spend it, and I just refused to just give in. I was like, no, it's my check. I'm going to spend my money on what I want to spend it on. And she was always just save. And I'm just like, and we always bumped heads. So it came down to, she had the finances in the beginning. And I thank God that the Lord saw fit for me to get those finances away from her. Because she was just,
she was too tight.
She was so tight with the finances. It was just like, oh my gosh, man.
But it came from the way I grew up. Yeah. Like, even with the way we were, and I'm still kind of like that, and he is still like that a little bit, but we now have a balance.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I grew up, my dad was like, you got to save at least 15% of your check, so he didn't teach me much when I growing up as far as, how a man should treat you, all that stuff. But he did teach me about money. He did.
Okay.
And so, and I think because Pablo just didn't ever have any money, whenever he got it, he was like, I need to spend it. You know what I'm saying? And so, when we decided to put our money together, I was stronger in the finance department. So I was like, I'll do the finances. And as he said, he was like, I will get this check. And he'd be like, well, I went to the mall, got me a Oh, what? Like, what are you talking about? But it was like, one day, literally one day, God was like, he's going to do the finances. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, he ain't. He is not taking no money and doing nothing with it. We ain't going to have nothing.
Did you think that was the devil talking?
Like, Jesus.
I said, that's the Lord talking right there all day. Give him finance. Give him to me.
Yeah, but now, now we've been doing it for so long. I realize now that I had trust issues. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot, a lot pours into why you do certain things. You don't realize it. Like I didn't trust people with my money because I never seen my dad really trust my mom with money. Right. And I was like, what you not going to do is do that. Like that.
And she still didn't trust me at the time that she turned over the finances to me.
No.
So, and I knew that. And even still, I wasn't like sold on doing it because I was like, I don't know if I need to be doing the finances. I ain't doing it right myself. And so I think that's what God was waking us up saying, no, this is what y'all both need to learn. And this is the way y'all need to do it. And so, through the years now we got it running great.
I ain't running nothing. I was just
so you swiping now.
It's not like I swipe like that. I'm sorry. I just didn't want this thing to. It's not like I swipe like that, but it's like, I'm sorry. He had to pull out this for me. I feel like my charger. Okay, there it is, babe. I feel like I still don't swipe. I still have that we need to save mentality, but I'm not. I am free from that. And then sometimes I still do get like a little anxious or I get a little anxiety when I feel like I can't tell you how much money we got. I mean, that may not be good, but I can't say, hey, I know we got, but at the time, I could tell you down to the penny. And that was just so stressful.
I think it was stressful. It was too stressful on us because trying to be perfect. And I had to tell her if I was going to spend $10 at McDonald's, and I was just like, okay, we got to change this.
He would say $10. I say, how much exactly?
I'd be like $10.23 at McDonald's.
Oh, Keisha.
I knew it wasn't going to work.
You was a little tyrant over them finances, girl.
She was tough on us. She was very tough. And I'm glad, looking back at it now, it really taught us, and like the things that she was trying to do in the beginning. Now, we do certain things in our finances with. I didn't understand anything about saving, retirement, insurance, none of that. And so she knew about all of that type stuff. So she was trying to get me early on. Look, we got to put money here, here, and here before you decide going to, to spend money over here. And I didn't understand the concept early on. And so when the finances came to me, and once we sat down and looked at all of our money that we were spending, every single penny, which I had never done, we looked at every single penny that we were spending versus all of the bills that we got, and it blew my mind. We didn't have what I thought we had, and so that kind of it really made me think like, wait a minute, I got to stop spending money because we don't have what I thought we had, and so that's what it really taught us to get better with us.
So it sounds like that whole process taught you not to be so. So it sounds like that whole process taught you how not to be so consumed with the now, but also look into the future and plan as well.
Yeah, it did, but it also taught us trust
and how to communicate.
So even before the future and all that, like there's no future, there's no extension until we learn how to trust each other. So we had, and God knew the way to get me to trust anybody was with my money.
That money.
Like I've been working since I was like 15. So I've always had my own money. I've always paid my own bills. I've always got what I wanted. But again, my dad taught me have a savings account because, something may happen. Your car may break down. So like I knew the concepts of insurance, life insurance. I knew all of that at like 15, 16 years old. I had that. When I got a car, I knew I had to have car insurance, so all that stuff I knew, but I still couldn't do what I wanted to do. But then when we got married, I had to pull that together. And then, trying to go back and forth, like, okay, why ain't got no money? Like I'm used to having this money. And so I think I know that's what God used for me to say, hey, this is a good guy. But I'm sorry, but this battery was too. I thought it was charged up. I apologize. Like this is a good guy. You got a really good guy. You about to mess this all up. And I was just like, well, I'm gonna mess it up because he ain't gonna take my money. And then but he ended up being a very good guy, doing everything right that we needed for our family to be what we are today.
All right. So I want to go back to something that you guys said a little bit earlier. I never understood the statement that I've heard some people say, I'm not marrying your family, I'm marrying you. And I think that's the biggest lie ever told when it comes to, relationships and marriage, because clearly, as you guys just, discussed, that you do bring things from your family and your background into your marriage. So you mentioned, a lot of the abuse and basically dysfunction that you guys dealt with, early on. And one thing we didn't mention is that you guys have two beautiful boys or young men at this point.
I know.
Let us not even stay there for a second, because we may all get a little misty.
I know. You definitely have been there for our youngest. Like, listen, he know I need to call Miss Ivy. Call Miss Ivy. Tell Miss Ivy to pick you up, drop you by McDonald's.
Yes.
Bring you home. But yeah, we do. We have two boys. Elijah, who is 23. He'll be actually 24 on the 28th of August. And then we have 21st. And then we have Ethan, which is yo dude. He's 18. So we have them. So actually we're about to become empty nesters again. I know. And we I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna be empty nesters, but
I ain't really looking.
Yeah. It's not like woo-hoo type thing.
I'm trying to figure out what's the big hoorah when people say that. I mean, I don't know. I guess,
we'll see when it happens.
We'll see when it happens.
Yeah.
I ain't encouraged for it. I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, let us revisit that in 6 months and see if there's any difference in y'all feel.
We'll see. But you knew though, we got our grandbaby Amir. So Elijah has a son, Amir. He's 3 months, and so he comes over here often. So I know that'll fill the void. However, that is one of the biggest misconceptions in a marriage, but it can actually be a truth, and it's kind of twofold. It's kind of twofold, but it just depends on the maturity of your person.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I did not marry your family, but I did, because your family is you. And the thing is, again, in our marriage, what Pablo and I did, and we didn't know we was doing it, Ivy, but we wanted something different. We wanted different from what we seen our parents go through. Funny because we wanted it different, but I wanted my tie and he wanted his game. You know what I'm saying? But we knew we wanted something different. So when we got married, God moved us to Charlotte. And Pat was looking for a job when he got out of school. I ended up finding him a job in Charlotte. He ended up coming, and then when we got married, I came. So we were here by ourselves. Like, we had no family. It was just me and him. So we decided, like, we need to figure out how we want to do this for us. Right. What makes sense? So, like, we literally sat down, and I think a lot of couples don't do that because they're thinking it's just going to hurt somebody's feelings. Like, your mom was used to seeing me for Christmas and, A, B, C, and D. And another advantage for us is that we lived in the same city. Home to Winston, we went home to Winston. Like, I went with my family. He would come to my family. We would go to his family. We'd be able to see everybody. So it wasn't like we in California and his mama's in Winston, whatever. So that was a plus, but we still wanted something different. So we wrote down the things that we did not like. So like our first couple of years being married, we decided we're not drinking. Like, alcoholism is a mutual thing in our family, and that's what we do not want to be a part of our family. So we didn't drink at all. And there was a couple other things that we didn't do because it was just so toxic in our family. I think we did it more so out of fear initially than out of faith, and so we did that, and then we decided, okay, that's your mom. It doesn't matter. Your mom is going to love you no matter what. So we decided, if I have beef with your mom, you're going to have to fix it. And you're going to make it seem like it's you that's saying that. And vice versa for my mom, because, you can say whatever you want to say to your mom and dad. They're going to love you. But they're going to always have that little, thing about, I don't like the way Pablo said it. So he always dealt with his mom. He set his family straight. They knew the boundary that we had in marriage. I did the same thing for my family. If something happened to my family, he didn't like it, I addressed it. And, they probably knew who it really came from, but you can't, if it's coming out of my mouth, you're just going to have to deal with it.
Right.
So we set that boundary really, really quickly and early in our marriage. And I think that helped us deal with family, because Pablo is a mama's boy. He loves his mama. And I would never take that from him. A lot of girls are, I don't hear mama's boy. You want that, because if he loves his mama, he's not going to do anything to hurt his mama, which means he's not going to do anything to hurt you.
Yeah.
But if you put that statistic, I don't want you to be a mama's boy, then he gonna feel like he's being pulled between you and his mom. And I would never do that. Like, never. Like, I was like, I would never do that. I would never do that. I think that's totally disrespectful, and especially his mama carried him for all these years. And me being a mom of boys, I wouldn't want my son's girlfriends to do that to me. And I think that's the thing that a lot of women don't think about. You have boys, baby, it's coming back. You know what I mean? So you do marry their family. It's just you and your spouse have to communicate And you have to be mature and say, and your spouse has to say, you are my number one over everybody.
Yeah,
Right.
Even my mama.
you have to set some boundaries. You have to talk about the part that you may not like.
Yeah.
You know, because like when we do like family get-togethers and stuff like that, my wife is right there with me.
Yeah.
You know, and vice versa. She's not at home. No, she's coming with me, and vice versa. You know, I'm gonna go to hers too and stuff. So we had to sit down and talk and communicate and say, these are the boundaries. These are some things, because you know, my wife knew that. You know, she knew I loved my mother. She knew I loved my grandmother, and so she never tried to step in between that. And I, as her husband, never made her feel second to them.
That's key.
And that's what you have to watch out for. You have to, you know, so I mean, and we actually, me, her, and my mother actually had a talk about that. And so that's what it boiled down to. We had to sit down and talk about the way we're gonna treat each other. And so it was a good learning experience. But the Bible taught us that, you know, my wife is first, period. And
Absolutely.
so I've been running with that since day one, and my family has jumped on board, and they know play with Kesha because that's Pab's woman, and he is not fucking with her. My family knows that.
They don't even. You can't even joke. Like, you can't even make a joke. And initially I was like, Pablo, don't be like that. But now I understand, because jokes lead to other things.
And joke on my wife.
Yeah.
Be funny. When my wife come around, ain't no joking. You know, we just each other. We're not gonna play those little games where somebody can get mad at each other.
Yeah.
And
and I think that's what I think a lot of mothers, you know, just don't know their place and don't want to accept their place in their sons' lives. And I constantly remind my boys all the time, your dad takes very good care of me. You can't do nothing for me. You'll never be the man of my house. If your dad decided to up and leave, or he go home to be with the Lord, you will never be the man of my house, ever. Like, and I hear a lot of people tell their kids, saying, "You the man now." No, you're not. I mean, even growing up, I never let them say that they were the man. Like, the man of who, baby?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's just where either you have a lot of single moms, or you just have a lot of insecure moms who, you know, didn't have a healthy relationship with their husband, that they made their sons their husband. And neither one of them.
That's stuff you have to, a lot of people they grow up in that environment.
Yeah.
And then when you get in a relationship with somebody, you kind of think this is the way it's supposed to go. Expectations are the wrong thing. You have to have expectations, but you have to communicate those. And I think when we first got married, we had expectations about what marriage was like, but we were wrong in a lot of it, because we saw as we were going through it, like, wait a minute, like, I don't have to do that. I know that's traditional and stuff like that, but now, you know, this not working for us, so we're gonna do it this way. And so that's how we have to do with our families, or both our families. We communicate, we have our boundaries, but she is numero uno, and I'm numero uno, and we've let it be known, and everybody know it and understands it. It's not a problem, and that's what you have to do as a married couple. Because like now, like if I walk, if I'm over Kesha's house and she's having a big family get together or whatever at her house, you know, I don't have to lift a finger to do anything. And if she comes to my family and we having a big get together, she don't have to lift a finger. I'm not gonna go over there and cook or go over there and fix your own place. She don't really know my family like that to be doing it. So I will make sure to get her comfortable. And so, but now she's all over the place with my family. I'm all over the place with hers. But in the beginning, you have to make sure your spouse is comfortable around your family at the same time, letting her know that she's still number one. You know.
Yeah. And that seems so insignificant, but it sets the foundation, you know, for the rest of your relationship. And it's, you know, not crazy when things like that blow up.
Yeah.
You know, when you don't set those boundaries, and when you don't have, you know, those communication or those talks at the very beginning of your marriage or throughout, because you have to keep the communication going as well.
it changes all the time. Like it's never the same. It's not like I can say the same thing today and repeat it again tomorrow. Like it changes because I change as a person, he changes as a person. Our parents are getting older. So, a lot of aspects change. So you have to keep recommunicating all the time. Like,
Yes.
people think, another misconception with marriage is people think it just stays the same. It does not. I
Okay.
mean, like maybe year 1 through 3, it may stay the same because you're just still so in love with each other. You're still trying to, mush things together and all that. But then by year 5, you like, I don't know if I like you like that. And, statistics show that most marriages, people divorce in year 5.
Around that time.
Around year 5 through 7 is really the roughest years because, things are coming full circle. So we've been through seasons together. We've been through some transitions, somebody done lost a job. I done had a baby. So like in those times, things change and you thinking, this is the person I'm not supposed to be with forever. She should never change. No, like you change. And a lot of people just, a lot of married couples do not go in. And we didn't either, with the idea that I'm not going to be 25 all my life. Like, I am going to turn 26, 27, 28, and you just keep going. And as I get older, my body changes,
Yeah.
I'm not skinny like I used to, I don't like that anymore. And so you have to communicate those things. And I think that's where couples do not do that.
Yeah.
And that's where
they have the unreal expectations.
Yeah.
And it's a big disappointment. But the way social media is these days is so huge that you really dig in and communicate with one another about the expectations of your marriage.
Yeah.
If you're trying to follow, social media and the way they do it, it's you have to have some boundaries, some traditions. We got some things that we do that we just, again, when we saw growing up, I was like, I'm never going to do my wife like that. Or I'm never going to do that for my wife. And so we had to talk about it and how you feel about this. And, she's like, okay, yeah, I like that. And so and we go with it.
Yeah.
If don't nobody else do it and we like it,
yeah,
it works for us.
Exactly.
It works for you.
That's the word.
Exactly. There is no one size fits all.
No,
it's not.
And the thing is, you have to pull everybody into that mentality about your marriage. So everybody, like he was saying earlier, everybody knows this is what Pablo and Kesha gonna do, and that's it. Like our boys know this is what mom and dad is gonna do. It's no need to me asking dad because he gonna say, well, what did your mom say? I mean, there, of course, there's sometimes where Pablo might do this or don't tell him, but when it's something major, we have to communicate. Like even now, like we don't spend $100. If it's over $100, we're gonna have to talk about it.
We talk about it. For example, if it's over 100, we talking about it.
Right.
If it's because somebody may, I need 150 to pay this light bill. And you decide to go and just go pay it, we're going to have a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
We don't even do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even, some people, we have our money boundaries. And so we had to talk about that because, I like to help people all the time. And Kesha watches those finances like, oh, okay. So you have to communicate if you're going to spend a certain amount of money or what you're going to do. Well, but we always talk about it first.
Good. I want to talk about the relationship that you guys have with your boys, specifically you, Pablo. I absolutely love the way that you guys engage with your kids. But specifically for you, Pablo, how did you ensure that you did not repeat what you didn't receive?
Oh man, just I've always, like I said earlier, I've always just said, since my daddy wasn't there, that when I get kids, I'm gonna really be there. And I think I overdid it early on. I was, too just there because I just, I didn't want them to ever say my dad wasn't there for me. They'll never have. I don't think that'll be a day they'll never have to say that about me. And so I ran hard with always being present, not financially, but present. And so it doesn't matter what they have going on. If they have something special, I made it a purpose to always be there for everything they did. And I mean everything, especially early in their younger years, sports, games, something at school. I was that dad, they're all in the classrooms.
On field trips. I'd be like, see y'all.
She'd be like, see y'all later. I said, I'm going. So it's just because I didn't have that growing up. Yeah. And there was a lot of days that I was just out there just lost and trying to figure it out. I failed a lot. And so I worked a lot. And my mom worked a lot. So it was just like I had to figure things out on my own. And I failed at a lot of that. And, so I wanted to just definitely make sure at those points where I failed at, they wasn't going to fail at or even think that I need some help here because I'm going to be there. And so just always in their face all the time, whether they like it or not. It's just they don't really understand it. I don't think. I think because I've always been there, and so it's kind of easy for them.
Yeah,
they know Dad gonna be there, and so that's why they don't really understand kind of what I went through. I try to tell them a bit when we have conversations. But I just don't think they see it just because I've always been there. They don't know what it's like. And so
it's their norm. Like it's their norm.
So,
like I always tell them, y'all don't understand, like your dad would run track and win all these awards and was doing great. But when he looked up in the stand, there was nobody there. I said, when you look up in the stand, you know what we're sitting at, we got, and so sometimes I think they take it for granted. But I'm not mad at them because I want that to be their norm that, I don't know. I was saying my dad was always there. So that's one attribute that I really, really appreciate and love about Pab is that he didn't leave.
Yeah.
Even when it was hard. But again, when we got married and when we came here to Charlotte, we committed to each other that we were not ever getting a divorce. Like we just was like, we didn't even let people say that over us.
Sit around.
Like don't even say, to communicate, don't joke it, don't play it, because I remember Pablo's mom would always say, you cook for my son today? I'm like, no, but we're going to divorce you. And Pab was like, no, I'm going to divorce you before I divorce my wife. And so we went really hard with that. The only boundary with that is if you commit adultery. Yeah, if you commit adultery, I don't care. We married 97 years. I'm going to be single to 98, because I feel like you failed our marriage. You didn't give our marriage the opportunity.
It takes a lot to do that.
Yeah, it takes a whole lot of knowing what you're doing. So that's
a whole separate life.
Yeah, that's. But you have to have, you have to have that talk. You have to have that talk, and you have to have boundaries. Again, you have to know your boundaries, and you can't be wrong places doing the wrong stuff. That's how that stuff happens. Yeah. So we have to. We talk about, when you're without me, what are you doing? How are you dressed? Are you talking to this person? The same thing. So we can kind of know and understand. Okay, so we're not going down that road.
I said, you better not eat nobody's food. And like, yeah, man, they brought some chicken to work. Did you starve? You did starve today, right?
Yeah, this lady brought some chicken one time. Hey, I brought you some chicken. I'm just like,
no, ma'am.
No, that's a good idea.
I said, chicken. Did you go to McDonald's, baby? Sure you did.
I said, babe, I took it from her because she, but I went around the corner and put it in the trash.
And I said, don't even take it. She'll keep bringing it.
But she don't do that no more. I set that straight. Please don't do that again.
Yeah. People be slick.
Listen, that's what I'm telling you. Women can be slicker than men. Men just don't know how to do it right. Women, I say they slick, but
we know that's the thing. We know. I know exactly what she's the intentions. I know it's gonna work. So
that's right, baby. That's right.
They can put them on before it get too late. You just not let them get in there and start rubbing on you. It's too late. So we get that off early.
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All
And we
right.
need to set boundaries for ourselves too. I'm sorry to mean to tell you that. Like with me and Pat, we have boundaries with each other. Like you're not gonna talk to me if your voice start getting high, then you just need to shut it down and start over later. You know, and I think a lot of couples don't have that.
Well, that was the way we grew up.
The way we grew up. Because my dad he was come home, yell. What it was yell, slam doors, fight. Yell, slam doors, fight. So when you yell, and I'm thinking, you can slam a door and we ready to fight. So I'm getting pissed up for nothing.
Yeah.
So you have to set boundaries with each other too. And I think a lot of couples don't do that.
Got to. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I want to turn the page just a little bit and talk about aging parents and grieving. Because I know my sister friend just experienced a very, very, very hard, process and still experiencing. And I think one of the things that we don't account for, I mean, we know our parents are older than us, but we don't anticipate them dying ever, regardless of how old they are.
Ever.
So talk about, you talked about your relationship with your dad and how much better it was, in your later years. Talk about the whole process of him getting ill and then later passing and how, that affected you and what that grief process was like. And then Pablo, I want you to talk about, how was it for you just seeing your wife going through that whole process? Because I'm sure, she kind of looked different than she ever had, going through that process, and just how much it meant for you to support her through that and continue to support her through that.
Okay.
So, my dad's relationship, myself and my dad's relationship again initially was horrible. Like my dad was just not a good dad. I have two other brothers, so, there was some adultery happening. There was different things going on. So he just wasn't a good dad. But after things got better, I found out why. It was just generational stuff, stuff that he's seen his mom do and, things that he went through in his lifetime growing up. However, he didn't fix it. So he just rolled it down to us as kids. So my dad was like my ace, like, oh my God, he was like my best friend. We talked all the time, at least 4 times a day, about from politics to marriage to my mama, Pablo, boys. Like, we talked every day, at least 4 or 5 times a day. So when he passed, it wasn't real to me. Because, I'm thinking my dad's going to live forever. And he was not sick. Like, my dad didn't have diabetes, high blood pressure, anything. He ended up getting cancer. So he died from bladder cancer. And so when he left, initially it was, again, very surprising that my dad was actually gone. But then after that kind of went away, it was like a heaviness because I had to take care of my mom and my sister. As we talked earlier, my dad paid for everything. Like, he was literally an old school man, like, had this going on the side, but the lights always stayed on at the house. Like, he was present, but wasn't present. And so, my mom to this day don't even write a check. So, I had to come in, take over, figure things out. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. It was really hard. But the one thing that I never wavered on was Pablo's support. Like, if my dad will call, my mom will call and say, hey, we took my dad to the hospital. It doesn't matter where I was at. I was going to Winston. And it was just a given. And he knew, I'm on my way to Winston. My dad's in the hospital. Okay, let me know when you get there. Don't worry about me and Ethan, because Elijah was in college. Don't worry about me and Ethan. I'll make sure we get taken care of. You go take care of your dad. It was never an additional pressure of, what about me? I'm your husband. Like, I need to eat. It was I can say never to that. He never made me feel like I had neglected him, or never made me feel like I didn't put him first. He never made me feel like I wasn't being a good wife. He was like, that's your dad. You got to be a good dad. You got to be a good daughter. And so I was there when my dad took his last breath. I was there, you know, I was the first person that found out he had cancer. I was the first person found out that he was going to pass away. Like, and me and him had such a connection to where it felt like every time something major happened, I was always, not my mom, I was always the first person to find out. And not that I was stepping in her shoes, I just happened to be in the room at the same time, or, you know, whatever happened. So, I did not really grieve his death until like months later after he died, because the adrenaline rush and, you know, trying to get everything taken care of, switching things from his name to my mom's, you know, making sure my sister was good, making sure, you know, the benefit, like everything. It was so much stuff. And it was, and the whole time, Pablo was like, just until you get it done, don't worry about me and Ethan. And that made me feel so good. And I think the relationship that I had with my kids that we had built up before also transcend over to that, because Ethan was in the 10th grade. He was running track. I missed like almost all his 10th grade track. And I felt so bad as a mom. And he was like, Mom, you know, it's okay. Like, and I think it's like Pablo was saying, we've always been there. So we were always there. So I think me not being there for that little bit, he was okay, because you know, Pablo was still there. But you know, it was one of the hardest transitions that I've ever had in my life, and I know I'm not the same person. I know I'm not. And it took me a little bit to accept that, because I wanted to go back to being who I was. But I heard this podcast, this girl was saying, you know, she told her friend, you'll never be the same because you're a person now without your dad. And when she said that, I was like, that's me. Like, I can never go back to being that Kesha again. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm not enjoying my life, not that, you know, I'm not having fun, I'm trying to pick back up. You know, there's days where, you know, I don't want to do anything. I'm missing my dad a lot. But I will never be that Kesha again, because that Kesha had a dad. This Kesha today does not. And so, you know, but Pablo has, I mean, really have been there through it all. He's even in teaching my sons how to handle it. You know, your mom's going through this right now, you know, A, B, C, or D, or this, like, it is just like, it feels so good to be able to just put that Superwoman cape. I really want to throw it in the trash can. You know what I mean? Like, I never want to wear it again. I don't ever feel like I have to wear it again, because he's just so supportive in any endeavor I've had, which led me to trust him when I lost my dad. You know, so when I lost my dad, it was just like, I didn't want him to be my dad, and he never could replace my dad, but he made me feel good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he made me feel good. Like, you don't feel bad that you didn't cook today, or that you might not feel like getting out the bed today. Like, don't feel bad. Like, you're grieving. You lost your dad.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I know some of my friends who have lost their dads, their husband's just like, well, you gonna cook tomorrow? And I'm like, girl.
Wow.
Like, I hide behind Pablo. You know, so it's a hard transition, still going through it, still learning how to adjust, you know, still to, you know, grasp the concept that, you know, I am a father's child here on earth, and, you know, be okay with it.
What do you have to add, Pab?
So from my point of view, it was a shock to me by the way Kesha was acting and going about it, because it was something I had never seen.
Right.
And so, you know, and I really didn't know how to handle it, you know, because Kesha was totally different. And when I say mean totally, there were days I'm like, man, who is this lady in this house? She is terribly different. You know what I mean? Like really different. And I know this ain't the lady I married, but I know what she's going through. And so I said my job is going to be to make sure she's okay to take care of her family, and I'm just going to let her, whatever she want to do, that's what it's going to be. If she want to sleep all day, she can sleep all day. If she want to go do something, we're going to go do something. I'm not going to force her to do anything. And so I talked to, Ethan and Elijah, the same thing. Your mother's going through some things. She's not her usual self, but we're going to support her through it. And we're gonna help her through it. But it was scary for me for a minute, because it was just like, I was like, I'm about to go talk to somebody about this, because I'm like, she's not who she's always been. And at times I started to feel like, man, now is this gonna be the new her? Because if this is gonna be the new her, we're gonna have some serious problems. Like, because she's short. She don't want to talk about nothing, don't want to do nothing, don't want to say nothing. I don't know whether to hug her or give her a space. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what she needs,
Yeah.
And we had a talk one day, and we kind of talked about, I know she was saying, like, she just wanted me to just ask how I'm doing. Right. And then that's when I was kind of like, I'll definitely do that more, but that's not who I am. I've never been like that, so, and you've never been like this. So it's this is new to both of us. I didn't know to ask, how are you doing? I said, I'd rather not say anything about it, so it wouldn't bring up, what's going on. And that's the way I've kind of handled things in the past. But we had to learn, I had to learn how to deal with that. That was extremely hard. And when I say extremely hard, it was just, and I was talking to people that I knew, like, man, because one of my friends, his wife lost her dad, and he was telling me some things. So we just bouncing stuff all each other. I was like, nah, but I was like, she's not there, man. I was like, she's not there. And I said, I've never seen her like this. I said, as long as we've been together, I've never seen her like this. I was like, I don't know what to do. And so, of course, I took it to prayer, prayed about it a lot. And, the Lord was like, you got to just step back and let her, let her get through it. Just be there on the other side of it. Just let her do what she do. And so that's what I kind of started doing. I didn't say much. I just wanted her to know and understand that, okay, you're gonna have to take care of your mom for the rest of her life. Like, you can't just pass that on to nobody else. That's you. And Mom, I told her that. I was like, that's you. I said, as much as you may not want to do it, maybe hard, maybe time consuming, you may have to go up there and stay for some days, or whatever the case may be. That's what you're gonna have to do. And I said, I'm fully support you. You want me to go with you? I go with you. You want to go and come back? I take you, whatever. And so we just kind of worked our way into that.
And we're still working.
Yeah,
because I still go to Winston for a week in a month and stay with my mom.
So just stay up there.
For a week, make sure things are taken care of. And that's why I was telling him, that is the biggest support for me, that I don't have to feel like I'm neglecting my family. My dad would always say, Pablo is your family. You gotta make sure he's okay. And I'm like, and I'm thankful that he said that. But, it's a transition that I think you really can't speak about it unless you're actually going through it.
Yeah.
Because it's so invasive, and it's like sometimes grief is so disrespectful because it just comes at like whenever, and when you're not ready for it, like, something that once made you laugh, make you cry. So like, even in that, I have to still communicate.
Yeah.
I can't expect him to just be like, oh, she's feeling this way today. I have to still say, hey, I'm missing my dad today, and then he'll be like, okay, well, tell me what you need, versus me just saying, well, you should figure out that I'm missing my dad. Like, that's so unfair. Like,
right.
And I think a lot of women do that, or a lot of people do that whenever they're going through something. You think your spouse just should automatically know what you're going through. That's so unrealistic, and that's so disrespectful to me as in your marriage with your partner. So we're still working through it. We're still working through it. It's still, it's been 3 years. It's still kind of fresh.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I have to tell you that, because I know you shared, a lot of things, with me as well. And I've watched you, go through this grief process. As difficult of a process as this has been, I think from an outsider looking in, especially as it relates to marriage, it's also been a beautiful moment for me to watch because it allowed me to see what it looks like when a husband covers his wife in her most vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
And everybody can't say that they have that.
Nice. Yeah.
One of the things, not to put your business in the street, and I know what to share and what not. But one of the things you didn't say is every first your mom experienced after your dad passed, you made it a point to be there. So every birthday, every holiday, and everything else that it was her first time experiencing without her husband, you were there. And I don't know anybody who has ever done that for a parent. So hats off to you as a daughter who understood the assignment as it relates to her mother. Yeah. So I just want to definitely give you, because we sometimes we just take people for granted and say, oh yeah, that's my mom, that's her mom, that's what she should have done, or that's his wife, he's supposed to do that. No.
Yeah.
It is not the norm.
Not the norm.
It is not the norm.
And when my dad passed, I made a promise to him that I would take care of my mom. And I know my mom has always depended on my dad for everything.
Yeah.
So I knew that was coming to me, but I also knew that I had to make sure that she still felt celebrated. Because my dad was celebrator. Like, he would get her things and do things. And so, I wanted to make sure, but then it turned into, this is something I would want my children to do for me. I believe in things, what goes around comes around. I believe that. Like, I believe if, I'm taking care of my mom, so I believe that my sons will take care of me. If they don't, I know my husband will. But I know that, but grief is very hard. Grief is, like you said, one of the things that married couples do not think about. Like, nobody ever wants to think about their parent passing away. So you don't make the conversations about it. But
I was expecting her to go up there.
Me too.
You're her dad.
Oh.
Grieve a little bit. Then come on back to Charlotte and we're gonna keep it moving. But like, she came back to Charlotte, she wasn't herself, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, this is new. And like, it was a big shock.
Yeah. And I would stay. And after my dad passed in March, I lived in Worcester for 2 months. And I lived there for probably about 3 weeks, not coming home at all.
Yeah.
And then I started coming home on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I did. And then I just had to tell my mom, I was like, I have to go back home in May. I have to go back home in May. And so, but I think that was good for her, because then she realized I have a new norm too.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So we're working through it. Yeah,
absolutely. So knowing everything that you know now, what advice would you give a newly married couple, or even those thinking about marriage?
Okay. So for me, I would definitely say, keep your family as far as, away from your marriage as possible. Because again, everybody has their own reason and why they do stuff. You have to get with your partner, and y'all have to get a piece of paper and a pencil and write down what it is you like, what it is you don't like. How do you feel if I do this? Like, you have to write the stuff down, because that's going to be the foundation of your marriage. And a lot of times, after the wedding, you're just so happy. Next thing you know, you got pregnant. Like, you never sit down and say, we are the Smiths. How do we want to do this? And I think a lot of, married couples don't do that.
Oh, that's a conversation.
Yeah, it's like and be willing to have monthly talks. Again, because you change. Like, after a woman has a baby, she changes. So, you have to talk about those things. Like we'll have a meeting and I'll be like, okay, now let's sit down, because the way our schedules are, we pass a lot. Like, we do a lot of passing. And so we'll have a meeting and I'll say, okay, when we had this meeting, this is what I'm going to tell him in this meeting. Because it doesn't do, like, it's not going to work in passing. Yes. And we realize that we don't communicate good in passing. Yeah. Because I can be snappy. And then Pav will get in his feelings and he'll shut down. So you got a snappy and a shutdown. It's not going to work.
At all.
But when you're face to face and we're talking to each other and then we follow up.
You can't walk off. You can't get on the phone. You have to sit there. You have to deal with it. And that's what we made ourselves do.
Yeah.
Because at one point in our marriage, we were off. I can't remember the time, but we were just off about everything. And so we made a pact. We're going to sit down. And at the time, we were sitting down every Monday. We sit down. We're going to talk about the last week, what we didn't like, what we like, and ain't nothing gonna be interrupted. And that changed us so much. Even though we had been together for a long period of time, you have to have those types. So what I would tell a couple that's getting married or thinking about getting married, there's gonna be shifts and changes and things that's gonna jolt that marriage. And sometimes you got to be able to say, okay, all right, this happened. This is what we're going to do from here on out. Because sometimes, you don't know until you go through it. Right. And so sometimes you just think it's going to be this perfect road. Now, one thing I will say is marriage is great. It is the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Hard. It's hard.
For me, it's not even hard. It can get tough at times because y'all women, y'all are tough at times. But to me, it's not hard because this is what I want. This is what I want. I love her. I'm gonna make it work. So it's not hard for me now. But a lot of people are not ready for the bolts and the jokes.
Yeah.
And if you're selfish, marriage is going to be very hard for you.
Yeah.
Very hard, because you have to learn to put somebody else first all the time.
Yes.
And you have to make sure. And if you do it the biblical way, which is how I learned as a man when we first got married, I learned how to do it straight from the Bible. I tell people all the time, they're like, how y'all do? I said, man, I opened that Bible and I learned this is what a husband is supposed to do. This is what a wife is supposed to do. This is how the husband leads his family. And that's been my blueprint since day one. It's nothing that I've made up. It comes straight from the Bible. And so I treat her with as much respect and love as I possibly know how. Now, sometimes, I got to go above all that. But I can do it. I can do it. I know it's possible. And if you get married, it's going to be some jokes and it's going to be some changes that might get you for a minute. You just got to be prepared to push through that. A lot of people just give up and run, these days they run straight to divorce because, somebody don't like them for a couple of days or something. Like, no, we get mad at each other a lot. And sometimes we may not say something to each other for a little bit, but it always come back in. You want something to eat?
Girl, what was that thing? Was the refrigerator still in the kitchen when you went in there? I know I'm probably going to get some red flags about this. But looking back now and where we were to where we are now, I do suggest marriage counseling for women, but I don't always suggest Christian marriage counseling.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because sometimes whoever your counselor is, if they are a over the top, like unbalanced Christian, they're gonna ruin your marriage.
Mm.
Marriage is meant to be fun. Marriage is meant to give and take. Marriage is not meant to be in bondage to we go to church every Sunday, we pray together. Like those things are definitely attributes that you need for a good marriage. But you definitely have the attributes with I can laugh at you and we can joke. We can go
Yeah.
out, we can go dance. We can,
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
We don't have to be in church every Sunday to say we love God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we had to learn that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went to a Christian counselor, which I'm saying, go to somebody that's a Christian, but somebody that's balanced.
Balance. That's
Yes.
the word.
That's the key word. That's
Mm-hmm.
balance. That, if you want to have a drink or two, like I'm more of a heavier drinker than Pablo is. But there's times when he drinks more than I do. So then I say, okay, well, let me stop. I'm not going to drink no more because I want him to have a great time. But if you go to a marriage counselor that's a Christian, like, you drink is against the blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't feel like God put me and Pab together for somebody to give us a boundary when he's already given us one.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's good.
God has
That's
already
good.
given us the boundary of what we're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do. It said, as if he is okay with me doing A, B, or C, it's not affecting our family, our finances. We're together. I'm going home with you. I feel like it's okay.
Yeah.
If I could wake up and he'd be like, girl, you were drunk last night. You had a good time. Yeah, babe. But where am I at? I'm with him.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think a lot of times, a lot of Christian counselors get into your house too much. And
Yeah.
then people get into too much bondage and then they just make marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the key what she's saying is you end up being in bondage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When now if that's the decision that you are going to stick with and you good with and your spouse is good with, that you're not going to drink, you're not going to do ABC, then you do that. But don't let nobody move you into that, and that's not even what God
Right.
Right. God never said
so
that.
you got to watch it. Those boundaries are when they may change, they may get wider, they may get narrower as you go into your marriage. Just depends on what you can let in, what you don't. And so you have to be, in tune with your spouse. You definitely got to have some time with her, but you also have to know that my wife said this all the time. We are married and we love one another, but I am an individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I have to love and appreciate and take care of myself before I can be able to love and appreciate and take care of her. But if I
Absolutely.
don't love and appreciate and take care of myself, it's going to be bad on her.
That's another thing too, that like when we talk to people, when it comes to us or ask us things about marriage, we're like, marriage is 100%, 100%.
Yeah, ain't no 50-50.
It's no 50-50. I have to be 100%.
If she ain't 100, I got to be 100.
He got to be 110. You know what I mean? Because it should be the marriage for us. We want our marriage to be 200 all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Finances we share.
Yeah.
Everything
we share.
Your money, my money type stuff. It's no. We are one. We're a unit. We're gonna do this together. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna be respectable. And we're gonna change the world from what God wants us to do.
All right.
Ain't no stopping this couple right here.
I know that's right. So in closing,
okay,
answer the following question. Why did I get married and why do I continue to stay married?
Oh, that's easy for me. Why did I get married? Because I fell in love with my high school sweetheart and I always wanted to be married and show myself and my extended family and the world of how marriage is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was it?
How do you stay married?
Why do I stay married?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I'm more in love with her today than I was 26 years ago.
No.
And I have so much fun with this chick. That's why I stay married. And ain't nothing out there.
Say that again.
That's right.
Because I'm out here and I'm trying to leave.
the stuff I hear with these single folk at work, I'm like, what, boy, what is going on? I love my wife, so
Yeah.
I'm
So,
good.
for me, and I'm sorry, my battery on my thing is dying again, Bobby, so I apologize. But for me, why did I get married? I got married because I finally had found somebody who put me first, who considered me. Being the youngest of 4 kids, having a sister that has like mental disabilities, 2 brothers who are selfish and have their own issues and things, I was never like seen. And he seen me. And I was like, wow, like he really sees me. Like, and of course, you see in high school, you think, oh, but as I got older, I was like, no, he really sees me. Like, he sees what I'm doing, he sees how I'm acting, he sees when I'm not happy, like, he sees those things. And that's why I stay married today. Like, he always considers me. I had a moment and I was just like, I feel like nobody chooses me. And he was like, baby, I always choose you. And for him to say that, I was like, good, like, wow, like he still chooses me after 30 something years. And it feels good to know that somebody chose you. Like, my mama didn't choose me, she had to have me. My children didn't choose me. I'm their mom, but he chose me and still is choosing me today.
Oh, that is so awesome. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I want to thank my guests, Pablo and Kesha Smith, for joining me in the powder room today. For those of you who are not married, if you can listen and glean from a conversation like this and still desire marriage, you just may be ready to get married. And remember, if you have not already, please connect with us on Instagram at thepowderroom.pod, also on Facebook at The Powder Room Podcast, and join us next week for the final episode in the Why Did I Get Married series. Until then, take care.